Ilchot Ishut, Perek Asiri. To understand what Kiddushin are or is rather simple. Is from the moment that he says Hareat Mekudeshet Li, Betabad Zul, for example, and she accepts, she's Mekudeshet, of course, in the presence of Shene Eidim. But Nisu'in, Kenisah L'Chuppah, is a little more subtle. I want to explain that. So I'm going to read a few halachot, I'm going to explain them, and then I'm going to point out to apparent dissonance within the halachot, but there's no dissonance in the halachot of Rambam. I want to just explain it. So, ha'arusa asura leba'ala midivrei sofrim. כל זמן שהיא בבית אביה. והבעל ארוסתו בבית חמיו מקין אותו מכת מרדות. ואפילו כדי שהבביאה אסור לו לבוא עליה ביאה שנייה בבית אביה עד שיביא אותה לתוך ביתו ויתייחד עמها ויפרישנה לו. וייחוד זה הוא הנקרא כניסה לחופה והוא הנקרא נישואין בכל מקום. So here he defines כניסה לחופה and here he defines נישואין. What is כניסה לחופה? כניסה לחופה is יביא אותה לתוך ביתו. He brings his wife into his house. ויתייחד עמה, he's alone with his wife in his house. ויפרישנה לו, and he's מפריש אותה, meaning she's now going to be with him to the exclusion of all others. Just as a side point, I love the lashon of yafrishenna lo, because we're also mafrishim challah, we're also mafrishim teruma. So by making hafrashat challah, we're now bringing the dough that we were mafrishim, it becomes kadosh, and the rest of the dough is hol, so to speak. Same thing with teruma, leafrish teruma. Right, so now he's mafrish his arusato, and actually becomes a higher level of kedusha, right, as opposed to what she was before. Okay, I thought that's just a very nice point. Hafrasha, yafrishenna lo. Anyway, this hafrasha, or this yichud, is called kenisah l'chuppah. So kenisah l'chuppah requires that there's yichud in his house, so that she becomes, so that she is now with him to the exclusion of all others. That's the kenisah l'chuppah, right? The chuppah is not what we call today the chuppah. It's not what makes it a nisuin. So this is kenisah l'chuppah, and this is nisuin. Okay, and then if he's with her, right? והבעל ארוסתו לשם נישואים אחר שקידשה מי שיערב בה כנאה, once he consummates the marriage, she becomes נשואה ונעשת נשואה. והרי היא אשתו לכל דבר. From the moment of consummation, she now becomes his wife for all purposes, נעשת נשואה. In הלכה ב', הרמב"ם says, ומי שתיכנס לחופה נקראת נשואה. Now from the moment שתיכנס לחופה, right, meaning his house, נקראת נשואה, she's already called the נשואה, אף על פי שלא נבעלה, even though there was no consummation, physical consummation of the marriage. והוא שתהיה ראויה לבעילה. So as long as she's ראויה לבעילה, the כניסה לחופה, she becomes נקראת נשואה. Right? But she has to be ראויה לבעילה. For example, if she's nida, right, as happens sometimes. So in the case of a nidas, he can bring her into the house, but since she's not re'uya liv'ila, she's not nikret neswa yet, right? Even though there was yichud, right, and she's considered an arusa. Very interesting. So you can have the sheva. You can have if a woman is nida. Sometimes it happens that they miscalculate. So she can be nida under the chuppah. I'm using the word chuppah intentionally to distinguish between the chuppah, which is a halachic concept of chuppah. So she can be under the chuppah in the knis, and they could do the sheva berachot, but she's still considered an arusa. And even if he brings her into the house, l'shem yichud and so on, she's still considered an arusa because she's not re'uya liv'ila. But if he would have brought her into the house and she's re'uya liv'ila, then she was already considered nesu'ah. So that seems to contradict the previous halakha, because the previous halakha says, "V'haba al arusato l'shem nisu'im." Right, so you consummate the marriage physically, l'shem nisu'im, kena'a v'na'asat nisu'ah. Right, and then that's halakha aleph. Halakha bet, he says, ומשתכנס לחופה נקראת נשואה, אף על פי שלא נבעלה. She doesn't have to be נבעלת, she's already נקראת נשואה. אמרנו איתו הלכה ו', המארס את האישה וברך ברכת חתנים. So let's say they did אירוסין, הרי את מקודשת לי בטבעת זו. And then they had beautiful שבע ברכות, they had all the חזנים, doing שבע ברכות. ולא נתייחד עמה בביתו, but he didn't make ייחוד in his house, עדיין ארוסה היא, so she's still considered ארוסה. שאין ברכת חתנים עושה הנישואים, אלא כניסה לחופה. So the beautiful berachot, you can bring all the chazanim, Nahari, Yehezkel Sion, all the beautiful chazanim, there's many more, I don't mean to be exclusive, Shira, but if you don't, so they do the Sheva berachot under the chuppah, that's not considered כניסה לחופה, right? So she's still considered an arusa, right? שאין ברכת חתנים עושה הנישואים אלא כניסה לחופה. ארס וכנס לחופה ולא ברך ברכת חתנים. On the other hand, if they did, הרי זו נשואה גמורה. But if on the other hand, they didn't do the ברכת חתנים, they didn't do the שבע ברכות in כניסה, they're supposed to under the chuppah, and he brought her to the house and they were together, she's considered נשואה גמורה, right? I want to explain this. This is the Diyuk and Hanamam. So again, it appears from here, from Halakha Vav, that Nesu'a Gemura is the Kenisa L'Chuppah, right? She'en Birchat Hatanim Osa Nisu'im Ela Kenisa L'Chuppah, right? And even if there was no Berachot, she's Nesu'a Gemura, right? We know that. That's not appears. It's clear. That's Halakha. Meaning, the Halakha Vav is teaching us that the Berachot is not necessary to make her a Nesu'ah, but the discrepancy is, at what point is she Nesu'ah? In Halakha Aleph, it says that there has to be a physical consummation of the marriage. It says, ועד שיביאו אותה לתוך ביתו ויתייחד עמה ויפרישנה לו, right? והבא על ארוסתו לשם נישואים, אחר שקדשה משיערה בה כנאה ונעשת נשואה. So here we see explicitly there has to be a physical consummation. In Halakha Vav, it says no. It says, כיוון שיכנסה הרוסה לחופה, הרי זו מותר לו לבוא עליה בכל עת שהיא רוסה, והרי היא אשתו לכל דבר, even though לא בא עליה, on the condition שהיא ראויה לבעילה. So which is it? You understand the question? Is a physical consummation required in order for her to be considered a nesuah or not, right? And the answer is as follows. You have to be medaik and lashon harambam. Every single word matters. In Halakha Aleph, he says, "V'yechud zehu anikra kenisa lachupa, v'hu anikra nisu'in b'chol makom." And then he says, "V'haba al arusato leshem nisu'in." If you have the physical consummation for the purpose of nisu'in, kena'a v'na'asat nisu'ah. Look at the Diyuk of Lashon Harambam. It says, "Na'asat." She is fully nisu'ah. In Halakha Bet, he doesn't say v'na'asat nisu'ah. He says, if you're machnisat al chuppah before the physical consummation of the marriage, he says, "Umishitkanes chuppah nikret nisu'ah." We call her nisu'ah. You see the Diyuk of Harambam? Nikret nisu'ah. She's called a nisu'ah. She's not lo na'asat nisu'ah. So to summarize, there's a difference between kenisah. Okay, so the chuppah in the knis, that's proper. We have to do the chuppah in the knis with the shah berachot. That's takanat hachamim. But that's not the point at which there is. That's not the point at which there is nikret nesu'ah, right? No. In order to be nikret nesu'ah, it has to be yichud in his house, right? For the purpose of consummating the wedding physically. Even the yichud room, I know they have the yichud room in the knis, and that's fine. But the yichud room is not for the purpose of the physical consummation of the wedding, right? We all understand that, right? There's lakol aituzman. So that's not Kenisah L'Chuppah. I mean, they do it. I'm not saying not to do it, but technically speaking, the Kenisah L'Chuppah is only from when he takes her into his, let's say, if it's a hotel, that's his house for the night. So he paid for the hotel, so that's his house, right, to be with her. But nevertheless, from the moment he takes her into the hotel, nikret nesu'ah, to the hotel room, or to his room, or to, right, and, it could be at the house, right? She nikret nesu'ah, even if they didn't consummate the wedding. But for the moment that they physically consummate the wedding, na'asat nesu'ah.